We'll see a team looking to make it back to the CFP this year, the UCF Knights, taking on a participant from the playoff last year, the Tulane Green Wave. 3A Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, joined here in the booth by a couple of legends, and yes, we do use that term loosely. David Pollack from the University of Georgia and former Gator Jesse Palmer. Guys, let's get down to the field. The Knights will put total leather to crank us up. And it'll come out to the 25. No attempt at a return. Jumped the gun just a bit, and we've got a false start. The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. They'll run it. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see which way that's going to go. So the offense, more than happy with the result of the play, will decline the penalty. That penalty's the last thing this defense needed. Now it's 2nd and 4. Running back searching for a hole. Not much he could do there. Does pick up 2 to the 34. Tulane right back to the line. This is a designed run. And he'll have to check his fillings after that lick, but he did get the first down. Ball is at the 35. It's 1st and 10.
They run it, they get the first down, and look at the offense. Right back on the football, ready to crank this tempo up.
Oh, and they'll try to catch him with a pass. He'll take the deep shot. And how about that DB getting a hand in there and forcing the incomplete pass? You can really set the tone for what's possible in your season in early season showdowns like this, both in the top 10 and both with the loftiest of goals.
This one's fun too, David, because we had this game circled in the offseason. We knew this was going to be a really good matchup early, and we're going to find out the answers to a lot of questions we have about both these teams.
Well, and sometimes it's hard to figure that out, right? Like, get till mid-season, you're like, oh, they haven't played anybody. Out the gates, 2 top 10 teams. We get to find out really quickly who's legit.
Hands it off on the counter. And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield.
And, man, it's nice to have a guy that is just better than your guys. And no matter what play you call, man, how about him getting in the backfield quick, penetrating, using his quickness, and using his strength to get him to the ground. That is a ball.
Trying to move the sticks on 3rd down through the air. Has no choice but to throw it away, and it'll bring up 4th down.
And offensively, we know it's hard throwing the ball in 3rd and long situations because the defense can play big zone coverages. They got a lot of guys with their eyes on you, so the QB had no shot there. Nobody open. Nice job not forcing it, not risking a turnover, just throwing it away.
Tulane forced to send out the punt unit. First time we've seen their punt team this afternoon. A low line drive and not his best work. Here's the return. Really explosive when he gets his hands on the ball, and he found a couple of crevices and made a nice game before being run out of bounds. Timeout called here by the defense. It's the first one they've used this half. Receiver going in motion. Hand off from the shotgun. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender.
And I kind of like how the running back didn't mess around. Like, just get downhill when you see an opening. A lot of times they close so fast, man. Be decisive, stick your foot in the ground, pick up 3 to 4, and we are not going to complain.
The give to the back. And a decent gain there before the defense makes the stop.
And those little runs, man, they don't look great in the box score, but I love when an offense stays on schedule, and it makes those third downs more manageable, easier, harder to attack me now from the defensive perspective trying to get to me. So it's an easy, simple play for this offense, but I love it.
The Knights come to the line on 3rd and short, looking to keep the drive moving. They'll try to run for it. Turning it on! And this defense is a half a beat behind. They just can't quite keep up. They've got it down to the 21. The Knights getting set on 1st and 10. Wants to throw on 1st down. Oh, they're after him! Good job to avoid the negative play and just get rid of that thing. Change now on 2nd and long. They'll try the run. He was running through tackles and picked up the 1st down and finally got knocked down.
And listen, the offensive line has to do their job, but a really good job by the running back understanding where his hole is. Go hit it, get the 1st down, don't mess around. Nice job following his hole, getting positive yards.
The Knights trying to get a touchdown on 1st and goal. They'll try to get it in with the run. And this one will be stopped for no gain.
It's hard to run on a defense that comes off the ball like that and runs to the football like that. Good luck. No holes anywhere.
Defense rose up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. Snap it to the back. He's brought down at the 6, but the defense feeling the heat to make a stop here.
Unsuccessful 2nd down, and now I'm immediately thinking, I got a little bit more than I want, so what are my pass plays? What am I going to get into here offensively? Try to have success on 3rd down.
Looking to throw on 3rd and goal. That pass not close as he got drilled trying to deliver it, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Great job by the defense dialing out some pressure on 3rd down. They hit the quarterback and forced the incompletion.
It'll be 4th and goal, and it'll be a tough one. Defense showing plenty of pre-snap movement of their own. He's looking to throw. Fires into the end zone. Touchdown, Knights! Grab the short pass to put the 6 on the board. The defense uses their 2nd timeout of the half as they try to get their act together.
One of the areas they really focused on with this receiver in the offseason was we need you to make more plays for us in the end zone. We're taking shots. We need you to be able to step up and make tough catches. And David, what a grab right there.
And I think a lot of that has to do with trusting your guy, knowing where he's going to be, knowing when he's going to sit down, when he's not. So being on the same page, and then having a guy that can go get it. Just when the ball is near him, he's going to make the play, just like he did right there for 6 points.
They'll put this one in play. First snap of the drive from the 25. Sends it back in motion. Wants to adjust the pattern. He'll start this drive firing. That's reeled in. It's Thorne. At midfield, he's got room. He's going to be out of bounds, but not before he gets it to midfield.
I'll tell you, this guy has to get touches early in games. They're doing a good job of that right now. He's so dangerous once he has the ball in his hands. And I think if you're on offense, you move him around and you find more creative ways to get him involved.
Hit hard as he released the ball on that first down pass, and it never had a chance. They're dealing with a 2nd and long. Misfired on the last play. They'll go back to the air. Floats it out in space. He makes a little bit of headway and is pushed out of bounds at the 43. We've reached the end of the period, and it's UCF holding the lead. And after that first quarter, let's see if these guys can get back in the game in the second. So they go back to work after the break, and it is 3rd down. Just keep slinging it. Caught near the sideline, it's Thorne. Crosses the 35, out of bounds there. Nice pickup on the play, spotted at the 32. This Tulane offense has a great drive going. Wants to go up top on 1st down. Throwing on the run. And they couldn't make the connection on the long shot.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened. He didn't look open as it is, and the QB's trying to make a play, trying to force the ball, but at least he threw it where his guy could catch it or nobody could catch it.
Off play action. On target. Fights off the defender. There he goes. Huge game before he goes out of bounds, and now they've got it 1st and goal.
And that's why for the offensive coordinator, you've got to find as many ways as possible to get this guy going. Just get him the ball. Close to the line of scrimmage. Doesn't need to be a throw deep down the field. He's so dynamic when he has the ball in his hands. You saw it right there.
And you want to talk about game tackling. Everybody on the defense run to the ball. They need 7 more yards to reach the end zone. It's 2nd and goal. Looking to fire. Scrambling away. And it'll be incomplete. This is some physical pass defense.
We know about this running back's versatility. He's made some plays in this game so far, catching the ball. That time, though, he had no shot. Defender bearing down on him. They're able to get the hit and make sure it falls incomplete.
It's 3rd and goal and a long way from the end zone. Motion from the back. Dumps it off in the flats. He's going for the goal line. Touchdown, Green Wave. Made the grab and then did the rest himself, and they put points on the board. The extra point here would tie the game. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Fellas, it's gone final in a huge top 25 showdown. Here's how it went down. Michigan State made it look easy, but I promise you, there is nothing easy about a double-digit road win. And a victory like this only confirms there is something special brewing with these Spartans. All Always interesting to see ranked teams collide, and today was no different. The agony and ecstasy of college football, fellas.
Yeah, how about that? Sounds as if they had a good ball game there. Kevin, thanks for the update. Now the UCF offense ready to go back to work. They saw what happened on that last scoring drive, and now probably feeling a little bit of heat to answer. He's going to lose a yard on that one.
Well, they're trying to get that run play going to the outside, but it's the defensive end who does a great job winning his one-on-one and forcing the negative play.
Back in motion, try to clear the picture. Second down, they'll go to the air. Takes the easy one to the back. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see what the call is. Just a little too much there, a little too handsy, and they nabbed him for the defensive holding penalty. As a defense, you hate to let them move the chains on a penalty, but that's what they did. It's 1st and 10. They'll try the left side. Defense closed down quickly after a gain of 3. They'll mark it at the 32.
And those body blows really, really matter. Like, I want to be able to hand the ball off to my running back 10, 15 times a game. Make the defense tackle them, wear them out. Sometimes these 3 to 4 yard runs, later in football games, they turn into 5 to 15 to 20 yard gains just because of the body blow effect.
The quick out. Works his way to the 41, and that is plenty to give him a first down.
And a play like that, that seems routine, but it only works if the quarterback can get the ball out on time and out in front of the wide receiver. That allows the receiver to keep separation from the defender, and the ball hits him in stride.
At the 35, he's loose. They finally make the stop, and it's been this way this guy's whole career as a senior makes a play after the grab.
Man, what a weapon in this offense. To have a tight end that you can throw the football to, not just over the middle, not just to move the sticks, but a guy like this that can absolutely blaze, like a Warren, like a Bowers we've seen over the years, that can make huge plays down the field after the catch.
Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on second down. They'll keep it on the ground. Inside the 15. And he'll step into the end zone. Touchdown, UCF!
And that is exactly what you want from your offense. Man, late in the half, you want to execute and then punch it in physically on the ground. Take the lead going into the half. Take all the momentum. Nice execution to drive by that offense.
He wisely lets that one bounce through the back of the end zone, and they'll take over at the 25. Plenty of time left in the half here as they take over, but they will want to be efficient here in the final 2 minutes. Might be calling a hot route. To the air on first down. Bringing the heat. Just couldn't find an open man. He'll get rid of it, and it'll be second down.
Things just not going as easy for this guy as they did his last game out. Last time he completed over 70% of his throws. This week, though, defense taking some throws away. They've made some plays. He just hasn't been quite spot on with his accuracy. He's going to have to play better.
Skips away from pressure. Makes the catch on the right side. They bring him down, but not before he's able to pick up the first down. Clock stops momentarily for the first down. They'll hurry to the line. Looking downfield on first down. They get to him as he throws. Incomplete thanks to the great defensive pressure there that sort of threw them out of rhythm.
The offense just has not been able to find a way to get their rhythm going here in the first half. We just haven't seen it in the passing game. That was a really good example of it again. If they're going to score more points in the second half, they've got to make some adjustments here at halftime.
After the incompletion, back to the passing game. This time on target. And he's brought down after a nice gain. Tulane right back to the line. From the gun, the ground game. Tough, determined run gets it down to the 12. Going to work on second down in the red zone. Is still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. They'll move the wide receiver. Wants to fire on second down. Looking to the end zone. Into the hallelujah land. Touchdown, Green Wave.
Nice job putting a drive together. Nice job punctuating the end of the first half. There's still some time left, Palmer, but they can tie this thing up right now.
Yeah, and this is a staff that has so much confidence in their offense. I like staying aggressive right here, going for two, taking the lead into halftime, and putting a ton of pressure on the opponent.
And they did tack on that extra point with no problem. So that was a 6-play, 75-yard drive. And the score comes on a 12-yard touchdown pass. Let's see what he can get done from inside his own 15. He found some really good running room on that one. It just about got loose. As it is, good return to set up the drive. Inside 30 seconds to play in the half. We'll see how aggressive they are on this drive. Looking to throw on first down. Might be looking to run. He's going to take off. And he gets out of there and gets some yardage and gets down without taking any punishment. We've got a timeout in the waning seconds of the half. Maybe a chance to get off a couple more plays. Time dwindling away as they try to put points on the board right before the half. Defense playing a bail technique. Throws for the tight end. He makes a catch. Gets out of bounds after the big game, but they've got it first and goal.
Well, it's a nice job by the receiver getting out of bounds to save some clock. You're probably out of field goal range, so you're thinking Hail Mary here at the end of the first half.
The defense going to stop the clock with a timeout. They want to make sure they have everybody on the same page. Final seconds of the first half, and they'll try to put up 3 from the right hash, and this distance makes that angle not quite so severe. Good right down the boulevard. And with that field goal, they now have the lead. That's the end of the second quarter. That means it's time to join Kevin in our halftime update. He'll put total leather and get this second half started. From inside the 15, chance for a good return. Maybe if he could have eluded just 1 or 2 more guys, it would have been a big return, but they'll mark it at the 30. UCF has it once again. What do you think about that? If it's working, why change it? And that running game was working in the first half. I imagine we'll see a lot more of it here in the third quarter.
You just know the offensive line was telling their coordinator, put this on us. Let us continue to go out there, push these guys around. We can put this game on our back and end this thing by running the ball.
And this is a manhood question for this defense. Like, as a defensive lineman, and you're pounding the rock, like, I got to physically...
Oh, he's got some space. Defense on skates that time. They finally drag him down at the 42. Really good job working through his progression. You get it to him quickly, and the big tight end has a chance to run a little.
And a really good job by the QB throwing an accurate throw. I got to hit those guys on the move, on the run, so they can do this. They can catch the football, get upfield, and chew up some extra yards.
Fires to the big fella. And he's knocked down immediately, but a good pickup on that play.
Well, it's a nice job, too, of the quarterback after the play fake there, getting his eyes down the field. He had to get that to his tight end quickly, knowing he wasn't going to have a lot of space to run with after the catch.
The Knights with myriad options after that big pickup on first down. A strike downfield. field. They bring him down, but he's got a first and goal from the 10. The Knights are on the move. Motion from the wideout. They'll keep it on the ground for first and goal. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play.
Great job at contained by this defense. And in order to do that, the end man on the line of scrimmage defensively has got to be able to set the point and force the football back into traffic. And that's exactly what happened there.
They'll keep it on the ground looking for the end zone. Beck's going for the goal line. And he's loose and he'll take it to the house. Touchdown Knights!
And the offense continues to run the football. The second rushing touchdown from the running back. The offensive line paving holes. Continue to feed this man the ball.
And he'll just take a knee, and this drive will start at the 25. The Tulane offense headed back onto the field. The last time they had it, they took it down the field for a touchdown. They can build some confidence that they could go back-to-back scoring drives here.
Yeah, and remember, it's not uncommon for offenses to find themselves as the game goes on. They had some things not go their way early, but they found something last drive, David. Let's see if they can build on it.
Yeah, you just pick and pick and pick until you find that place where you're like, okay, this is an advantage I have. They clearly found that dude. They score here. We're in for a ball game.
So now it's second and long. Wants to go up top. Takes the easy completion. Out to the 36-yard line after gaining 10 on that one. They've got it at the 36. It's a first and 10. From the gun, they'll try to impose their running game.
And I think this has probably been the most surprising thing of this game so far. This guy's one of the best running backs in the entire country. They just can't get him going. He's never been able to get into a rhythm. You got to give the defense so much credit because they have been able to shut this guy down. And they got to keep that up here in the second half.
Pulls and fires complete to the right.
And man coverage, when they get up in your face, they make things hard. You want to be able to attack the whole field and get them leaning one direction and then break outside like you did there. Nice out-route connection. Nice chemistry between quarterback and wide receiver.
Looking to throw on first down. Under fire. Pressure's there and he lets it go. It's picked off. Don't see that very often from this Heisman Trophy candidate. He goes down after the short return, but what a play to get the football back. The UCF offense back on the field, ready to go to work. He stuck the last drive in the end zone. They'll try to follow suit here. Looking for more room. And he's able to find a little bit of running room before they get him down.
Coach is always harp about staying ahead of the chains, and when you can run with that type of efficiency on first down, man, you are doing just that.
This time the defense was ready, and they stop him in his tracks.
Awesome job up front by this defensive line, being so good at the point of attack and eating blocks, eating some double teams that allows these linebackers to run free, unencumbered, and get to the football.
Thanks for grab. They are on the move as they pick up the first down. They'll spot it at the 28. These two guys, just on the same wavelength, they make clutch connections all the time.
And that's practice, man. That's all summer. That's all spring. Just so many hundreds and thousands of balls where you know exactly when that guy's going to break. You know he's a stud. You're going to feed him, especially on these third down situations.
Well, they were trying to sneak him out of the backfield that time into the passing game, but that did not fool anybody on defense. What a hit, forcing that incompletion.
Try to make up for some of that lost ground on second down. Back to pass. Good timing on the quick out. He works his way to the 23 before he goes out of bounds.
Yeah, and he runs a quick out route. And this is a timing route. The quarterback has to trust him, throw him the football, You can tell they've thrown this a time or two. Nice job, nice success.
That's the end of the quarter, and UCF has the lead. 3 quarters are in the books. Time becomes a factor both in trying to hold the lead or cut into it as we take a look at the stats. Here comes the fourth. Time to see who steps up, who makes the winning plays to take home that W. After swapping ends of the field, that gave them a little time to figure out how they'll open the final period here on 3rd down. Wants to throw again. Pulls it in. And he'll be marked down, but he's got enough to move the chains. Boy, the defense really needed to get off the field there, and they just couldn't do it, and it's a fresh set of downs.
Man, that hurts. When you're trailing late in the ball game, you need those stops.
Got some room in to the goal line. Touchdown, UCF! And they take it in for 6 more points.
And I like the running back's vision. He sees the hole, explodes through it. He knows where the goal line is, gets in the end zone, gets 6.
And for a quick update, let's go to Kevin Connors in the studio.
Guys, unlike in my family, eventually backyard brawls come to an end, and we have a final from a classic rivalry between Pitt and West Virginia. Pittsburgh was able to come away with the victory, but it was not the type of dominant win we've seen in the Steel City over the years. A win, yes, but this one lacked style points. Regardless the outcome today, guys, these are still 2 quality programs. Proof the sport is as healthy as ever.
Kevin, thanks a lot for that one. Sounds as if they had a good one there.
And I absolutely love what this defense is doing, man. You know exactly what time it is. You've got a big lead. They're going to have to throw the football. So more nickels, more dimes. Bring the speed on the field and get ready to play the pass.
Plenty of distance between them and the sticks here on 2nd down. Couldn't connect on 1st down. Now back to the air. Rolling, throwing, looking right. And they dialed up a shot play, but they couldn't hook up.
The defense is in great position right now because they've got a huge lead here in the 4th quarter. They know the offense has to take shots to try to get themselves back in the game. So they're calling their coverages accordingly, and there was nowhere to go with that football. Really nice job by the defense being in position to force the incompletion.
On 3rd and long, try to convert through the air. Here's a heat. Another incompletion on 3rd down.
The offense came into this game knowing that for them to win, they were going to have to make some big plays throwing the football. That just has not been the case. Here in the 4th quarter, they've been held to less than 200 passing yards, and that's really the story of the game, guys.
Down by multiple possessions, you can't come up empty on this drive. They'll go for it on 4th down. He'll try to throw and pick up the 1st down. Incomplete, and that'll be a turnover on downs.
There's not many play calls on the sheet to score a bunch of points really quickly, so you got to go for it here. I like the aggressiveness, but this offense continues to miss the mark, and they just got to score more points. They got to do better, right, Palmer? That's an expert analysis. They got to do better.
It's going to be tough sledding for the offense here. They're trying to ice this game by running the football and bleeding the clock. They've got a pretty good lead here late in the game, but the defense knows the run's coming, right? So they're going to be loading the line of scrimmage, getting stops like what they just did. Be interesting to see what the offense does on this next one.
Timeout called by the defense. It's their first of the half as they'll make some adjustments. And they don't want to waste this great field position here on 3rd and long. They'll send the back in motion. On 3rd and long, doesn't need to take the check down. Looking to the big tight end. On target over the middle. Quick timeout by the defense there, trying to make sure everyone has the same call.
And they found the big fella again, and they found him early and often today. They featured him here in the 4th quarter. Still time left in this football game. I imagine he's going to still continue to get the football thrown his way.
Touch pass on the line. He is stopped behind the line of scrimmage. They'll lose yards on that one. The Knights trying to find their way forward after the big loss on the last play. They'll keep it on the ground. They want this clock to move. He'll get that one all the way down to the 4-yard line before he stops.
I think you have to like what you see if you're the coaching staff here. Your offense is on the field, and it looks like you got a pretty good drive going, and you're just going to try and keep this thing marching, keep the clock ticking. You've got a really nice lead here late. You just want to find what...
Touchdown, Knights! And the beatdown has ensued.
Loving what I'm seeing from this offense this week. I'm talking to them. They felt like last week's win was a lot closer than what it should have been. They didn't play to their full potential, but they did that here in this game. When they're hitting on all cylinders, they are scary.
And he makes the extra point. And no chance at a return here. They'll start this drive at their own 25. Tulane has it back in the offense, coming out to go on the attack. What a turn that last drive was. Didn't pick up the 4th down, and it led to the scoring drive, David.
And those are frustrating because you think you might get points and then your defense gives up points. This has got to be a complementary football type of deal. The offense now needs to provide a little spark and give this defense some hope.
No doubt, David. They got to turn the page, and they've got to play with a little bit more urgency here, knowing they've got to get that one back and put a good drive together.
That will take us to the 2-minute timeout, and not much time left for this offense to put together a miracle. Finally, some signs of life from this offense, which has done nothing in the second half. It's 1st and 10. Finds his tight end. And he's brought down after a nice gain. Clock is still running, and they have to get everybody lined up. Use the play fake. Now to throw. That's caught. It's Thorne. And a good job of coverage by that defense. Just a short pickup. And here comes the offense on 2nd down.
And this game is obviously out of hand. But I think the fans would argue, too, at this point, like, all right, well, let's not throw checkdowns, right? Let's throw some deep balls and continue to open up this offense.
Ball is loose. Defense grabs the football, and there he goes. Picked up a few extra on that return, but what a play by this defense to get the football. And he had an opportunity there to make something out of nothing, but things just got sideways and the ball came free.
I just like the effort on defense, okay? They couldn't get to the quarterback initially in the pocket. He starts scrambling, and they don't quit. You saw all of the effort of everybody pursuing the QB, catching up to him, and then creating the fumble. Awesome job.
I know both of these teams were ranked, guys, but it really seemed as if they weren't on the same level in this game.
I think that was a pretty good statement game for these guys. I mean, you're ranked higher, you're more talented. A lot of people point to this game, possible upset, 2 really good teams. Jesse, they made it clear. There's only one really good team. It was them. They were the favorite, and they just made a point of it.
You're right. Not all ranked teams are created equal. One of these teams is a college football playoff contender.